afternoon. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, former President Rodrigo Duterte will serve as a lawyer for his daughter, VP Sara, in impeachment complaints against her. At least 38 people are killed after an Azerbaijan Airlines plane crashed in Kazakhstan. King Charles uses his Christmas address to thank medical personnel who cared for him and Kate Middleton during their cancer treatment. Ginebra coming through with a heartbreaker against Magnolia in the PBA Commissioner's Cup. And as New Year approaches, we'll talk to an expert on how to achieve our fitness goals. Thanks for joining us. Former President Rodrigo Duterte will serve as a lawyer for his daughter, VP Sara, in impeachment complaints against her. The younger Duterte says her father extended his legal assistance after she declined his initial offer to provide financial support. The VP is currently facing 3 impeachment cases over her alleged misuse of confidential funds.
Sinabi niya he will collaborate. He will be a collaborating counsel for all cases. He'll be one of the lawyers for all the cases. And he's preparing his documents karon sa IBP so that he can sign as a lawyer of good standing.
VP Sara also slams what she claims is the absence of the rule of law. She says she's ready to face all the impeachment complaints.
I am confident that I did not break any law. I did not do anything illegal. Gumawa kami ng inventory of cases base sa mga nabasa namin sa media based on interviews sa mga different agencies of government, House of Representatives, Department of Justice, NBI, and PNP. And then for each case na I assigned lawyers to handle the case.
As she faces numerous controversies, VP Sara had used her Christmas message to be forgiving, generous, and compassionate.
Sa ating pagsariwa sa diwa ng Pasko, tayong lahat ay tinatawag upang maging mapagpatawad, bukas palad, at mapagmahal sa ating kapwa.
But at a gift-giving event in Davao City, the Vice President was asked if she is ready to forgive those who may have wronged her. Here's what she said.
Pasaylo pa ba ni mo, VP?
Sige ka na. Ay, suryahan ta na sunod pa. December 2025. Pohon. Maloy ang Ginoo.
Less than 5 months to go before the country's elections. Let's get the latest on the COMELEC's preparations with our correspondent, Hannah T. Hannah, go ahead.
The Commission on Elections is kicking off the printing of training ballots. This is a crucial step in preparing for the 2025 national and local elections. These ballots will be used to train electoral boards, technical support teams, and other election workers to ensure a smooth and accurate conduct of voting, both here in the country and for overseas voters. While this initial printing is meant for training purposes, the official printing of actual ballots will start on January 6, 2025. This is due to pending nuisance candidate cases and other petitions that need to be resolved by the COMELEC before the final list of candidates is finalized. The massive high-tech printers that will be used by the COMELEC for the elections are provided by South Korean firm Miru Systems. They cost around 300 million pesos each and can print up to 1 billion ballots per day. Miru has previously supplied election technology in other countries, and the COMELEC is confident that these machines will ensure the speed and accuracy needed for the elections. Mai?
Time sure flies. The elections just 5 months away. Hannah, how is the COMELEC ensuring that these machines are providing accurate information?
The COMELEC has invited several observers from groups like NAMFREL and Lente to monitor the printing process and guarantee transparency for the 2025 elections. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you. Hannah T. reporting. Turning now to a Christmas Day tragedy, at least 38 killed after an Azerbaijan Airlines plane crashed in Kazakhstan. On Wednesday, 29 survived, including 2 children who were pulled from the wreckage. The plane was flying from Baku to Grozny in Russia. It was reportedly forced to make an emergency landing after a bird strike. Video showed oxygen masks being released moments before the plane crash. 62 passengers and 5 crew were on board the ill-fated flight. Kazakhstan has set up a government commission to investigate the incident. Japan Airlines hit by a cyber attack. It took place this morning, affecting the company's internal and external systems, causing delays to some domestic and international flights. The airline was also forced to suspend ticket sales. The attack on Japan Airlines follows a technical glitch that hit American Airlines, briefly grounding flights for an hour and disrupting travel for thousands on Christmas Eve. Over now to the Russia-Ukraine war. President Volodymyr Zelensky says Moscow attacked Kiev's energy system and some cities with cruise and ballistic missiles on Christmas Day. He calls the assault inhuman. The latest strikes wounded at least 6 people in Kharkiv and killed 1 in another region. Blackouts also hit parts of Ukraine, leaving thousands without heating in freezing temperatures. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump continues with his divisive rhetoric even on Christmas Day. Trump first posted a photo of him and his wife, Melania, on Truth Social to greet his followers Merry Christmas. But it quickly spiraled into a lengthy statement with claims of Chinese soldiers operating in the Panama Canal. He also criticized Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Trump then hit U.S. President Joe Biden and his decision to pardon dozens of criminals. Meanwhile, in a separate statement, Trump nominated Miami-Dade County Commissioner Kevin Marino Cabrera as his ambassador to Panama. Trump described Cabrera as a fierce fighter for America First principles. Over in Britain, King Charles delivers a heartfelt message for healthcare workers, including his own medical staff, in his Christmas Day message. The monarch's annual address had a more personal tone as he looked back on a challenging year for their family. Buckingham Palace revealed in February Charles had been diagnosed with an unspecified form of cancer. A month later, his daughter-in-law, Kate, also announced she was undergoing preventive chemotherapy for cancer, which concluded in September.
All of us go through some form of suffering at some stage in our life, be it mental or physical. The degree to which we help one another and draw support from each other, be we people of faith or of none, is a measure of our civilization as nations. This is what continually impresses me as my family and I meet with and listen to those who dedicate their lives to helping others. From a personal point of view, I offer special heartfelt thanks to the selfless doctors and nurses who this year have supported me and other members of my family through the uncertainties and anxieties of illness and have helped provide the strength, care, and comfort we have needed. I am deeply grateful, too, to all those who have offered us their own kind words of sympathy and encouragement.
King Charles also delivered a message of hope amid ongoing wars.
On this Christmas Day, we cannot help but think of those for whom the devastating effects of conflict in the Middle East, in Central Europe, in Africa, and elsewhere pose a daily threat to so many people's lives and livelihoods. We also think of the humanitarian organizations working tirelessly to bring vital relief. After all, the Gospels speak so vividly of conflict and teach the values with which we can overcome it. The example that Jesus gave us is timeless and universal. It is to enter the world of those who suffer, to make a difference to their lives, and so bring hope where there is despair.
The royal family, meanwhile, attends a Christmas Day service at the St. Mary Magdalene's Church on the Sandringham Estate. The king arrived with Queen Consort Camilla, his son Prince William, Catherine, and their children. Also present, Princess Anne and Prince Edward. Notably missing was Prince Andrew, following a high court judgment that linked him to an alleged Chinese spy. Still to come, President Bongbong Marcos urging public support for the entries in this year's Metro Manila Film Festival. Stay with Newsfeed at noon.
At ako naman si Corina Sanchez Rojas. Simulan na natin ang agenda.
Yung nawala na 10 billion comes from the computerization.
Government subsidy para sa PhilHealth umarangkada na. Muugong ang panawagang executive clemency para sa death row convict na si Mary Jane Veloso. Pipilitin daw ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na pirmahan ang 2025 budget bago magpasko. Sa bawat issue, may anggulo at ang balita may agenda.
Good morning, I'm Mikey Oreta and you're watching Basis Points, where we dive deep into the numbers and the stories that drive our economy and shape our world.
Stay ahead of the curve with the latest on financial dynamics.
The Philippines' trade deficit hits its highest level in over 2 years. The Philippine stock market continues to plummet. The Philippine Economic Zone Authority is on track.
Join us as we delve into the evolving economic landscape. Mikey Oreta, Basis Points, 9:30 a.m. Only on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Actually, I think it's impossible to be good and nice all the time. Yes, it's too much to ask. You should just try to do your best, as in all things in life. And if you can be quite good almost all the time, don't worry about the gifts. It's time to relax. Yes, quite big gifts, I think.
Coffee!
So let's see what happens with these gifts. Okay.
And take good care of the presents. We made them with love.
Yeah, I will.
Joo,
And now, everybody, Merry Christmas. Oikein hyvää joulua. Joyeux Noël. Feliz Navidad.
Hei hei!
Ollaan valmiita, mennään vaan. Merry Christmas.
Hei hei!
Joyeux Noël. Frohe Weihnachten. Feliz Navidad.
Good morning, I'm Ferdy Salvador.
Good morning, I'm Mikey Oreta, and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, and the industry leaders shaping our future.
And in each episode, we explore how they're staying ahead in their fields, one industry at a time.
Can bring luxury products, and that the Filipino nurses and the malasakit is really what makes us really good.
Compared to other industries like oil and gas, you can never compete salary-wise.
Industry Beacon on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Good morning, I'm Paulo de Rosario, and welcome to Weather HQ. Today's headlines.
The world's largest solar battery storage facility project is underway here in the country.
The enactment of the Ligtas Pinoy Centers Act is expected to provide safer space. And the deadline for the mandatory evacuation of residents in Mount Canlaon's permanent danger zone has lapsed.
18,475 persons have already been evacuated.
Whatever the weather, only here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
You're back on Newsfeed at noon. Vice President Sara Duterte is on a wait-and-see stance insofar as the 2028 presidential elections is concerned. Former President Rodrigo Duterte had reportedly urged Davaoenos to vote for her at a gift-giving event, but the VP says she'd rather wait for the process to start and find out who else is running.
Siguro hulaton na lang siguro nato kanang naa na gyud ang contest na makita na nato kinsa na ang mga kandidato for the 2028 presidential elections.
The Philippine National Police stepping up security with New Year's Eve celebrations just a few days away. As Francis Falve tells us, authorities have seen an increase in injuries due to illegal fireworks.
2 men claiming to be students were arrested after meeting with an online buyer of illegal firecrackers. The suspects claim they engage in this type of business for tuition.
Ito po ay isang police-initiated operation. Nag-umpisa po ito sa pag-cyber patrolling ng mga cybercops natin kung saan nakita nila itong suspect na nag-post sa marketplace at sa isang FB page na nagbibenta po siya ng paputok. And ito pong mga illegal and prohibited na firecrackers. During the operation po, ang na-confiscate po sa kanya ay 10 cubes of King Kong, 4 cubes of tuna, and 4 pieces of kabase firecrackers.
From December 6 until Christmas, the PNP-ACG conducted 6 operations against illegal firecrackers, leading to the arrest of 7 individuals. Based on data from the Department of Health, there were 18 new cases of firecracker injuries reported on Christmas Day. A total of 43 cases have been recorded from December 22 to 25 this year. This is significantly lower compared to the incidents recorded on Christmas Day of 2023. According to the DOH, most victims were injured by illegal firecrackers such as Boga, 5-Star, and Piccolo. In response, the Rizal Police Provincial Office destroyed the confiscated and surrendered illegal firecrackers and pyrotechnic devices. The PNP's spokesperson also issued a reminder about the dangers of using boga.
Kasama po yun sa listahan, sir, ng mga prohibited firecrackers at pyrotechnic devices. At in recent years ay marami po tayong nakukumpiska. At ang malungkot po dito, sir, ay mga karamihan, bata po yung gumagamit po ng boga at may mga nasasabugan po sa mukha, may napuputulan ng kamay. Kaya paalala po sa ating mga magulang, bantayan at i-supervise po natin yung ating mga anak na wag niyo po silang papayagan na gumamit po nitong mga boga dahil maaari po itong magresulta sa kanilang pagkabulag, pagkasunog ng mukha at worse, baka yung buhay pa po nila yung kapalit ng kung sakasakaling sumabog po ito ng lalong-lalo na sa mukha po nila.
In the PNP's assessment, the recent Simbang Gabi and Christmas celebrations were generally peaceful, with no untoward incidents reported. Security measures are now in place for the upcoming New Year celebrations. So far, there are no threats to the country's security. Francis Polbe, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Authorities warn the public against crypto scammers. The Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center, or CICC, says some bank depositors have lost a significant amount of money due to these scams. These have supposedly been happening since November. Scammers are allegedly using digital accounts that suddenly disappear after victims deposit around 100,000 to over 1 million pesos. The CICC stresses a digital account should be supervised by the Bangko Sentral before any investment is made. Cryptocurrencies have gained traction after Donald Trump won back the U.S. presidency last month. He has vowed to make America the crypto capital of the world. The Bangko Sentral reports a surge in profit this year. Its net income rose 392% for the first 9 months to 109.7 billion pesos. This was largely driven by higher interest income from international reserves. Total revenue climbed 55.7% to more than 244 billion. Expenses, on the other hand, declined 11.3% to 161.8 billion. The BSP's total assets expanded to 8.08 trillion, driven by record high international reserves. The Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC, sets a 25 peso per kilowatt hour price cap on the backup power that the National Grid Corporation can offer. In a recent commission meeting, the ERC adopted an offer price floor from 0 per megawatt hour to a price ceiling of 25,000 pesos per megawatt hour. This is equivalent to 25 pesos per kilowatt hour in the country's reserve market. The Energy Department earlier imposed a temporary price cap of 32,000 per megawatt hour or 32 pesos per kilowatt hour. But the ERC says the amount is excessive, prompting it to set a reasonable ceiling to limit inflated prices in the market. Overseas, the deepening political turmoil in South Korea is taking its toll on the country's economy. Data from Korea Exchange show President Yoon Suk-yeol's controversial martial law declaration has driven away foreign investors from the local stock market from December 4 to 20. In the foreign exchange market, the Korean won also suffered, depreciating to 1,456 against the US dollar. A survey from the Korea Federation of Small and Medium Enterprises or Businesses, nearly 47% of restaurants and hotels incurred cancellations of year-end events. In Vietnam, a strict internet law now in effect. The sweeping new rules require Facebook and TikTok to verify users' identities and hand over data to authorities if these are requested. They must also remove any content the government deems illegal within 24 hours. The measure also prohibits online gaming for those under 18 years old to prevent gaming addiction. Critics say the new law is an attack to freedom of expression. We are taking another breather. After the break, we'll talk to an expert on how to reach our fitness goals in 2025. Keep it here on Newsfeed at noon.
Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Rain Musngi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. The crypto market climbed over $800 billion. Tech giant Alibaba has announced plans to issue notes. Investors are anticipating a significant downward move for the cryptocurrency. Swift is adding a new chapter to her record-breaking year.
Follow the Money, 10:30 a.m.
Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Always on top.
Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point.
When you talk about quality of education, there are many challenges that must be overcome. One of them is technology.
As a pre-need insurance agency, you need really a reserve funds for contingency measures just in case.
She is back home.
She's back home.
And that's On Point. Join us again, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC.
Your newest source of news and information.
That's it?
Follows you everywhere, every day.
Wow.
Oh, man.
On cable and free TV. Online.
He joins us from the Batasan Comercial.
On mobile.
Simulan na natin ang agenda.
This is BNC, and we are everywhere.
Good morning, I'm Mikey Oreta, and you're watching Basis Points, where we dive deep into the numbers and the stories that drive our economy and shape our world. The Securities and Exchange Commission gets tough on delinquents. 81 billion pesos in smuggled goods seized.
Cash remittances reached nearly $3.1 billion, up 2.7% year on year.
We were able to breach already our year-end target of 200 billion.
This is a new golden age for Bitcoin.
And that's it for Basis Points.
I think based on watching all of the other games, Freddie said in his interview, the creativity, I guess. Watching the other games and our games, it just looks a little bit more fun to watch our games. We take chances, we take risks, especially in the last areas. I think if we score more goals, then we'll be even more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, we are a young group, have some experienced players. I think that is good for young players also, so we can learn from them. We have Garrett that play in the Bundesliga, a lot of experience. So I think we all young players should look up to him and all the other guys. They've been through the game a lot of years, and it's a young, fresh blood that's coming in now. So it's important for the nation and important for the team.
Back at Newsfeed at noon. Again, the headlines. Former President Rodrigo Duterte will serve as a lawyer for his daughter VP Sara in impeachment complaints against her. At least 38 people are killed after an Azerbaijan Airlines plane crashed in Kazakhstan. King Charles uses his Christmas address to thank medical personnel who cared for him and Kate Middleton during their cancer treatment. And Ginebra coming through with a heartbreaker against Magnolia in the PBA Commissioner's Cup. We will be ringing in the new year in just a few days. You may be starting to think about the goals you want to achieve next year, from career to health and fitness goals. But how do we get started on the right path? Joining us in the studio, Aaron De La Cruz, fitness coach of Rise Up PH. Most people know him as Coach A. Merry Christmas, Coach A. Welcome to Newsfeed at noon.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks for having the time to join us here today, a day after Christmas.
Yes.
Now, first of all, we have our New Year's resolution. Some of us may have New Year's resolutions lined up already. So maybe 2025 may be the year we finally reach our ultimate fitness goals and our bodybuilding goals. But the question is, how do we even begin? How do we start?
Well, it starts with how you view your fitness goals first. Most people look at it like, I'm going to do this for 3 months. But the goal is, for me, the way I coach my clients and I share with my audience is that you have to look at it from start to finish at the end of the year. So wherever you are at the end of 2024, your ultimate goal is not to be there by the time you reach 2025. That way, everything else that you're planning to do with your fitness is geared towards you becoming a permanent transformation of who you want to become.
Because most of us probably, or some of us may think, okay, it's just summer goals, right? The summer body that we all want. But not many people know that this should be for the long term, right? So please share with us your philosophy, which will greatly help us on our, on how we approach fitness.
Well, I'm glad to do that. But first and foremost, I think most people need to realize that wherever they go in life, your body will be the anchor of whatever success you will be. Having that in mind, you will look at it long term immediately, because your success in all aspects of your life will be limited how long your body will be with you. So for them to be able to do that, they start off first slow at the start of the year, coming from their fitness goals and eventually achieving what they want to do at the end of the year. And that starts with 4 things I truly believe, which is 1, you have to indoctrinate that you want to be fit for life. You have to integrate those things to your daily life as you do them all the time, and you build consistency and accountability. The third one is for you to adhere to the plans you want to do. And the fourth one is for you to always make adjustments, because fitness is not one cyclical straight line. It goes down and up at some point in your life. When you get busy, when you get sick, all of those things come into play. So you have to make sure that you make adjustments all the time.
You're very correct. There are ups and downs even to fitness, right? Like when you mentioned, you get sick, you get busy. So there are roadblocks as well that you have to hurdle. What's the first thing that you would advise, or what's the first tip that you would give when we encounter roadblocks?
Well, you also have to go back to your routine. That's why it has to be integrated to your daily life. For me, I believe in 4 things when it comes to fitness that will really be integrated. 1, you gotta walk all the time. Walking is the best exercise you can do, not only for your health, but also for creating that mental space for you to be ready all the time. Second one, you have to build strength. It has always been researched all the time. Being strong will be very beneficial from start to finish, wherever you are in your fitness life. Third one, instead of going to a diet, try to find a structure in how you eat. Try to go for eating at the same time, eating protein-rich diets. That way, you won't have to think of how these diets will work for you. Last one, always create that mindset. Like I said a while ago, indoctrination. Indoctrinating that you truly believe that you should become your fittest version of yourself. And that needs constant reminder that you have to do all the time.
Diet is a big part of it, right? And it's important that we know what we put into our bodies. We start eating healthy as well. And then, like you mentioned, integrate fitness into our lifestyle. Make it a lifestyle already. Okay, so that we will think of it as more a permanent way, like for the longer term, not just a temporary fitness goal. So what do we do then, Coach A, when we don't reach our goals, like for the 3 months in, we're not seeing any results, or middle of the year of 2025, we didn't achieve anything. What would you do?
Well, if that's the case, like I said, you always have to find adjustments. Things will not go your way all the time. And that constant adjustment of you knowing your starting point and where you live, you catch where you live off, that's the goal all the time. So, for example, you weren't able to achieve the things you set out at March. You gotta continue from April. You gotta go back to your routine. You gotta start walking, eating better all the time. The thing with fitness, it never ends. The more you try to put that in your head that this shouldn't end, the more you release yourself from the pressure of achieving things immediately. Because in my experience, in my 14, 15 years of coaching, that's the very thing that's limiting people. Their agenda, their expectations of achieving things fast, that's the thing that's limiting them from achieving whatever they want permanently. And removing that mindset will always help you think of it long-term and permanently.
Yeah. You know, Coach A, I read something about setting realistic goals. Can you explain this to us? And what are examples of realistic goals?
Realistic goals is knowing your starting point all the time. People assume that when they try to put hard things immediately at the start of their year, they can sustain that up until the end of the year. That's not the case all the time. Your realistic goals, meaning, for example, you weren't fit a few months back. You can't put something hard to the things you want to do immediately. You have to pave the way for you to learn how to do the hard things properly, lifting properly, walking more, running, all of those things come into play that you have to start slow. That's the very thing that's going to help you achieve your goals faster and permanently.
Also, somebody said to me, make it a habit. How do you start?
Making a habit, first you have to find a routine that works for you. Set your schedule. All of us have our schedules, we just don't concentrate on that. By making sure you have a time for fitness, for walking, for taking time to think of what you want to do, for you to eat properly at a certain time, all of those things will be your anchor in creating a sustainable schedule for your life outside of fitness and your fitness goals.
Maybe for some people, an hour of running and weights may work, but for some people, it's just 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, in fact, for others, for those who don't have time to walk, what I suggest to them, after eating, get out and take a 5 to 8 minute walking. That's more than enough for you to get moving.
Right, so just get started, make it a habit, maybe do 10 minutes or 15 minutes of workout, then just do it every day.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, finally, Coach A, what are the trends we should watch out for in terms of fitness?
Well, AI has been really big this last year. I think it's gonna make big comeback. No, not big comeback, gonna make a big splash coming 2025. A lot of the fitness apps will be there as well. And a lot of digital stuff, especially for watches. People are very into that now. apps that will help them see where their goals are. And I think that's going to be a big trend this coming 2025.
All right, top 3 advice for those who want to get started 2025, day 1, January 1. What advice would you give them?
Start slow, finish strong. So think about it long term. Think about 12 months of the year that you want to do this. Remove the expectations, and then don't think of it too much. Start somewhere, start now.
All right, you heard it from Coach A. Thank you so much, Coach A, for joining us today. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Many frontline workers chose to report for work this holiday season instead of spending time with their loved ones. Francis Falve takes a closer look at how Christmas is celebrated by these modern-day heroes.
Fire Inspector Javier Belen of BFP San Juan is used to not having any vacation even during the holidays. He has been in the rescue service for over a decade and has been a firefighter for a total of 25 years. He and his colleagues were planning an early Noche Buena, but a call came in. They had to respond to a fire in San Juan.
Talagang tawag ng tungkulin, so immediate, kung anong ginagawa mo, tigil, takbo agad. Responde agad tayo.
Inspector Belen finds ways to celebrate Christmas and New Year. Earlier with his wife, a police officer, and their 2 children.
Na-impart po namin sa kanila na kapag ganito talaga mga holidays, talagang wala kami sa piling nila. Kasi yun yung trabaho namin as uniform personnel, as part of the Bureau of Fire Protection na during holidays, nasa red alert status kami at saka ready for emergency.
Dr. Star De Lunas is grateful she was able to spend Noche Buena with her parents in Batangas. Since becoming a doctor almost 10 years ago, the time she has spent with her parents have been few and far in between. Despite this, her parents have always been supportive, even though she often has to return to work due to patient calls.
I need to go back here in Manila because I have a 97-year-old patient na admitted because of GI bleeding. So I have to attend to her. I think parang in-embrace na namin to, parte na siya ng profession namin na kahit kailan ka tawagin, you should be ready because you know that lives are at stake.
Apart from her patients, Dr. Star prioritizes her parents, especially since her father is set to undergo a medical procedure next year.
It's more special and meaningful kasi nga daddy ko will undergo surgery, a major surgery on early January. So I wanted to make sure na makaspend ako ng time with them kahit na nga itong meron akong trabaho on the side.
While Dr. Star and Fire Inspector Belen dedicate their hard work to their families, they admit that their time with their loved ones is limited. They plan to make up for it when their schedule allows.
Sa mommy at daddy ko, I am very happy to be back and to be spending Christmas of 2024 with you because as far as I can remember, parang ngayon na lang ulit tayo nag-celebrate na only the 3 of us. And wala akong ibang wish for you but to be healthy and to spend more Christmases and holidays with you. So for me, that's the most important thing. That's my priority talaga. At this point in my life. So, yun lang. Love you.
Sa aking asawa at saka sa aking 2 anak, Merry Christmas at itong tandaan nyo kahit wala si tatay sa piling ninyo ngayong Pasko at ngayong bagong taon, I assure you na nandito kayo sa puso ko at kapiling ko pa rin kayo kahit wala kayo dito.
Francis Polbe, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Asian countries are holding memorials to mark 20 years since a tsunami killed more than 220,000 people in nations around the Indian Ocean. In Indonesia, a siren rang out Thursday to kick off commemorations. The country suffered the highest death toll from the disaster at 160,000. Thousands more died in Sri Lanka, India, and Thailand. At least 46 people are said to be killed as Pakistan's army conducts airstrikes in eastern Afghanistan. Most of the fatalities were children and women, according to the Taliban. The group vows to retaliate. Pakistan has claimed the Taliban has conducted attacks in the country from Afghan soil. The militant group denies the accusation. In the French Alps, hundreds of skiers had to be airlifted to safety after a chairlift breaks down. Reports say an electrical failure caused the chairlift to malfunction, leaving the skiers stranded. No injuries were recorded. This comes just days after more than 170 people were evacuated by rope from a ski lift in the U.S. after a crack brought the gondola to a mid-air halt. Hot air balloons soar over Nepal's skies for the first time ever. At least 25 hot air balloons from countries all over the world took part in Nepal's first International Hot Air Balloon Festival. Organizers say the 9-day event aims to promote tourism in the Himalayan nation. Nepal is home to 8 of the world's 14 highest peaks, including Mount Everest. We're taking a break. Up ahead, Ginebra delivers a Christmas Day heartbreaker for Magnolia in the PBA Commissioner's Cup. Stay with us here on Newsfeed at noon.
Healing, the restoration of order and well-being, the coming together of a community to address their fears and aspirations. At the heart of these rituals is the shaman, the healer, traditional spiritual leaders whose knowledge of the spiritual and the natural world make them indispensable to their communities. In their struggles and in their secrets are more sources of dayaw, our knowledge, our pride.
Magandang gabi, ako po si Pinky Webb. At ako naman si Corina Sanchez Rojas. Simulan na natin ang agenda. Posibleng paglabag sa international humanitarian law ng dating Pangulong Duterte, sinisilip na ng DOJ. Super Typhoon Pepito nag-iwan ng matinding pinsala sa ilang mga lalawigan. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin muling bumisita sa Pilipinas. Sa bawat issue, may anggulo at ang balita may agenda.
You mentioned three, no? So payments, lending, and insurance, no? On payments, as I've said, about 52.8%, we have now shifted the payments to digital by as much as 52.8%. But there remains to be a challenge on the lending side because while there would be around 44% of Filipinos that would have loans, no? But 4.4% of that would only be loans coming from the banks, or people are practically getting their loans from banks, because what it really indicates now is that for most Filipinos, they still do not have that credit footprint or credit score. So they are now victimized by the loan sharks, by the informal lenders, etc. So that's why, in partnership with regulators, specifically the Securities Exchange Commission or SEC, we are now moving towards having to promote the value of having to create your own financial credit footprint, no? Especially for our new to credit individuals, because at the end of the day, what is really critical is for us to be able to provide that credit, responsive and responsible credit for every Filipino, no? And that is one of the fabrics of having to push for financial inclusion in the country. So that's why, again, I think the overarching subject here is about financial education, right? On how we can tell ordinary Filipinos, especially in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, on the value of having to create your own credit footprint. So because you really have to provide credit, especially for MSMEs, for for individuals, and that really propels growth in the countryside.
This is The Scorecard,
where you score the latest sports news
and in-depth views. I'm Anton Rojas.
I'm Erica Christensen.
Get ready Be prepared. Get to the latest stories, updates, and reports about what's happening in the world of sports. Hosted by Anton Rojas, Erica Christensen.
Where sports is our business and business is our sport.
The Scorecard, 9:30 p.m. on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Good morning, I'm Ferdy Salvador.
I'm Mikey Oreta, and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, and the industry leaders shaping our future. And in each episode, we'll explore how they're staying ahead in their respective fields, one industry at a time.
The industry changes quite rapidly.
We know where to go. We've got our comfort zone.
Those are early manifestations for the of what
I'm happy you told me that because now I know I'm not getting Alzheimer's.
Industry Beacon on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
You're still watching Newsfeed at noon. A dramatic Christmas Day victory for Barangay Ginebra San Miguel in the PBA Commissioner's Cup. The Gin Kings erased a 22-point deficit to beat the Magnolia Chicken Templados Hotshots in Christmas Classico Wednesday at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Final score 95-92. Scotty Thompson hit the biggest shot of the night as he sank a huge corner triple for the win. Scotty finished with 14 points. RJ Abarientos also coming up big for Ginebra with 20 points and 5 assists for the Player of the Game honors. Justin Brownlee top scored for the crowd favorites with 28 points. Still on the PBA Commissioner's Cup, the Converge Fiber Xers pulled the plug on the Meralco Bolts 110-94. Jordan Heading showcased his brilliance with 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists for the Fiber Xers' 4th straight win. Import Sheik Diallo chipped in 24 points and 18 rebounds. Top draft pick Justin Baltazar added 16 markers and 7 boards. Some NBA action now. The Philadelphia 76ers play Grinch at Boston as they spoil the Celtics' Christmas with a 118-114 victory. Tyrese Maxey dumped 33 points and dished out 12 assists to lead Philadelphia, while Joel Embiid added 27 markers and 9 rebounds. The Celtics trailed by as much as 15 in the fourth quarter, but trimmed the deficit to just 2 with 4.9 seconds left to play. But Embiid made 2 free throws to keep Boston at bay. The 76ers have now won 6 of their last 8 games. Jason Tatum led Boston with 32 points and 15 rebounds. In entertainment, OPM definitely ruled this year's sonic landscape. Billboard Philippines has released their year-end charts, rounding up the most streamed songs this 2024. On top of the list, Palagi by TJ Monterde and KZ Tandingan, Dilaw by Maki is at number 2. Pantropico and Salamin Salamin by Bini at numbers 3 and 4, while Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish at 5th spot. Other Pinoy songs in the top 10 include Sining, Walang Alam, and Babaero. President Bongbong Marcos calls on the public to support the 10 entries in the ongoing 50th Metro Manila Film Festival. These include The Kingdom, Uninvited, Topak, Isang Himala, Hold Me Close, and Espantajo. Also in the lineup, My Future You and The Breadwinner Is, Green Bones, and Strange Frequencies, Taiwan Killer Hospital. This year's MMFF will run until January 7. Here's President Marcos's full statement.
Mga minamahal kong kababayan, maligayang Pasko po sa atin lahat. Ang panahon ng Kapaskuhan ay panahon upang lalong magsama-sama at magmahalan ang bawat pamilya at ang bawat isa sa atin. Ngayong Kapaskuhan, bibidang muli ang mga kwento ng ating lahi dahil ito sa espesyal na selebrasyon na ika-50 taon ng Metro Manila Film Festival na bahagi na ng ating buhay at kultura bilang Pilipino. Ang mga magagandang pelikulang kalahok ngayon, ang Golden Year ng MMFF, ay siguradong magbibigay ng gintong saya at mag-iiwan ng mga ginintuang aral. Ang kilikin po natin ang kwentong Pilipino. Suportahan po natin ang Metro Manila Film Festival 2024. Isama ang buong pamilya, buong barkada, at panoorin ang 10 pelikula na handog ng MMFF. Mabuhay ang pelikulang Pilipino. Happy 50 years, MMFF. At muli, maligayang Pasko po sa inyong lahat.
It's the day after Christmas. Thank you for joining us this hour. I'm Maya Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.